What's up? It's our time to be free family. We're going to move into episode 6 of telling your inner critic to shut up. I hope you have all been enjoying this series so far. If you have, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe so you won't miss an episode of the series that I'm going to be creating here. Because my whole goal is for people to live their best life, for people to see the world from a different perspective. Because we live in a society where everything is so negative, and that's what we take in. That's the kind of energy we absorb every day. But if we're able to fight off that negativity, we'll be able to project more positivity in our life and in our surroundings. So in this episode 6, we're going to be talking about the inner critic again. And would you say that the things that you say to yourself, would you say those things to a friend? Would you? I don't think so. In most cases, we don't we encourage our friends. So think of yourself as a friend. Be your own best friend and start encouraging yourself. They say that they say very often that we are our harshest critics. We criticize ourselves so bad, and I know in certain circumstances this is true. Okay, because that inner voice that we have, it not only criticism criticizes us, but it's never nice about it. It beats us up. It beats us upside the head, and we want to try to lower that down some, because that's when we talk to ourselves in that negative light, when we're beating up on ourselves, it's never good for us. Never. Okay, so we would never say those things to a friend. When you're listening to your inner critic, it's easy to lose perspective of who you are. So those negative, harsh messages and words that you receive can really, really hurt. All right, and they're usually, when they do hurt, we usually internalize them, and they usually stay in place in us for a very, very long time. A lot of times we carry those things on for years and years and years. So a good way to manage that voice is to really turn things around and start to reframe the words that you tell yourself. So instead of being that mean, insensitive person, that tells yourself those messages, try to consider what it would say to a friend instead. All right. So let's take a look at a few things so that you can understand what I mean. So one of the first things that you want to do is be gentle with yourself. Try to be gentle with yourself. Take time to break down the messages you're sending to yourself. Is there a way you can rephrase those things so that you can be more gentler? That would be a really great start to overcoming those toxic effects of our inner critic. So let's just say, for example, pay attention to the words like never, always, and consider whether they're realistic. So instead of saying, I never do anything right, that was one thing that I used to say to myself all the time, is I never do anything right. It's all my fault. But consider that phrase, I never do anything right. You can say, I'm not good at everything, but there are a lot of things that I can do very well. That is a great way to start rephrasing that negative, harsh statement that we say to ourselves. So be gentle with yourself, because when you do, it can go a long way toward helping you stop that inner critic once and for all. So another thing that you can do is be constructive. Instead of having destructive criticism, have constructive criticism, because constructive criticism is always appreciated over harsh words, and criticism itself has a valid portion at its roots. So take time to dissect the messages that you're giving yourself. If you do think there may be a spark of truth to them, find ways to reframe it, so that it can become helpful feedback instead of unhelpful feedback. So instead of berating yourself, putting yourself down, telling yourself you're not good enough, remind yourself that you could use practice or study in a particular area if you want to excel at it. This is so much more empowering. This is so much more an empowering message to receive to than to always belittle yourself and berate yourself for feeling like you're not good enough or not good at something. And the very last thing that you can do is start being kind to yourself. you know be kind to yourself. You wouldn't say these mean things to a friend or loved one. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. If a loved one came to you and start telling you their problems and woes, you wouldn't say those things that you say inside your head to your friend. All right? So try to be kind to yourself. Try to show yourself the same kind of care that you would show your friend. So remind yourself that it's okay to have those insecurities, those fears, and those doubts that you might have. Be your own cheerleader and give yourself positive messages, positive words to counter that inner critic that's always nagging at you. Okay, because positivity and kindness can really do wonders. And if you practice this pattern long enough, you'll start to see that your inner critic becomes a lot quieter. So keep these suggestions in mind when you're dealing with your inner critic, because by reframing the messages it sends, excuse me. So by reframing the messages that it sends and treating yourself as you would a friend, you'll make a great deal of progress towards reaching your goals and achieving great things in your life. I just want you to be free. So if you enjoyed these episodes so far, be sure to subscribe, like this video, share it out to other people if you think somebody else can find some value in this, because I just want to spread this message around to so many people, because I want you to live your best life. I want you to be free from the mental constraints that that we all put ourselves in, myself included. All right, so it's a daily struggle. It's a daily I'm not going to say it's a struggle, but it's a daily it's just a daily, it's a constant, I can't think of my words, but it's a daily progress, process that we go through. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a daily process that we go through. And as long as we're working at it, as long as we're not giving up on ourselves, we'll get to the other side. So remember, be kind, use constructive criticism, and always, always be gentle with yourself, because that's what it takes. Being gentle with yourself, being constructive, and being kind with yourself. All right, because you know that you would never say the things that you say in your head to a friend. It's our time to be free. Stay tuned for the next episode, guys.